Melissa, welcome to Women Investor Wednesday. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me, Beth.
I'm so happy to have you. This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to get this book, right?
It is. It
So
is.
thank you
Yeah.
for being here. Before we jump into your story, I just always like to tell people, in case this is their first time watching the podcast, what this is all about and why we're here. In 2020, during COVID, I had learned that of all of the commercial real estate investors in the domestic US, only 3% were women. And of that 3%, half were either women who inherited it from their parents or grandparents, or women who signed on their husband's guarantees for loans. And I thought that means I'm part of 1.5%, which is crazy. And I said, I didn't believe it. And so I started asking some of my friends who on a daily basis are in commercial real estate, like work in commercial real estate. And I'm like, do you invest? Yeah. Well, where do you invest? The stock market. Wait a minute. But you're in commercial, like you rep Starbucks, you find a site for Starbucks and you don't invest in that deal. And they're like, well, I don't have $1 million. I go, you don't need $1 million to invest in commercial real estate. Well, it's too complicated and risky. So is the stock market. So I kept digging, and finally many women were saying, well, I don't know anyone doing it but you. And I went, oh, now that's a problem I can solve. So during COVID, I had a virtual summit, and I had 9 women who I knew invested in, all different asset classes, hospitality, retail, fix and flips, land. And I got them on a virtual summit on a stage, interviewed them like this. And it was everyone loved it so much that I did a live event the next year, to the point that in March will be our 6th. So we'll have had 5 live events. But I realized, because the conferences, the summits that we have in person, I cap it at 250, because now what's happening is the women in the room are investing with each other, which is amazing. I realized that I can't reach as many women as I need to. So I started the podcast. Therefore, this is why you're here, Women Investor Wednesdays, because
Amazing.
I figured that if I could just interview one woman a week, that, it'll all add up. And I think you're my 97th interview.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's amazing. I wish I was
So
your 100th though.
I know. So I think there is a lot of more women out there than the stats are giving us credit for, but it doesn't matter. My goal was to get it from 3 to 10. And then last year, the theme of the conference was Think Bigger. So I said, I'm going to change it to 30%. So by the time
Perfect.
I turn 70 in 2030, I want to get it to 30%. So 30% in 2030. So hopefully you, by being on the podcast, thank you so much, will help inspire more women to jump in the game that maybe haven't done it yet.
Absolutely.
Now we get to you. Tell us your
Yeah.
story.
Okay, so where do I start? I was born. No, just kidding. So the whole backstory of me is actually like a lot of what's behind me. It's kind of where I started. So I graduated with a master's degree in kinesiology. So I played college soccer. I was very much into athletics, and that's what I want to do for my life. So I spent 20 plus years grinding from, college through a male dominated career. I ended up becoming the Seattle Supersonics, which are our NBA team here. They ended up hiring me my dream job as an athletic trainer and an assistant strength coach. And as a woman, that's like a big thing. There's a very small, like it's 1% of women in our industry. Um, but I had worked really hard for that. And I'm a very driven person. I have 4 sons and I'm half Mexican. So I'm there was a lot of weight on family and, being present as a mom. And, I just kind of wanted to, my mom was very like, what are you doing? You're going to play sports? You're going to college to do this? And, I was like, okay, mom, I can get married too, and I'll have children too. And so I kind of like was like, I'm going to do it all to make my family happy and my heritage. But also, I had some dreams and fire, and I like fully believe that God created me to do something great. So fast forward, I succeeded at a lot of things. The Sonics were ended up they got sold to Oklahoma. Most people know that. I didn't go, but the women, so the WNBA picked up my contract, and I stayed with them for many years. And we, accolades, accolades, accolades. But at the same time, I had 3 little kids at home that I was, like I just was like, whatever, like I got a career, I've got the kids, everyone's alive, like we're doing okay. But now fast forward, COVID comes. And I was in a position at that time as a, director. I'm getting older, kind of got out of sports and was just going to, head a prominent fitness facility here in Washington. COVID hit and I became a stay-at-home mom. Washington was the worst state. We got shut down the first, we got opened up the last. It was very, very, very strict here. It was probably a defining moment for me as a woman because it was the first time I really like said it out loud that I did not want to be a stay-at-home mom. I love my children, but that was not the job I was created for. And I went through some like major depression because of that. It's really hard when you know, you know who you are and you're a great person, you're a great mom, but like you hate sitting there doing math with a third grader. You hate talking about these things that like I want to be with adults and engaged. And it was really a struggle. I probably hit the rock bottom of my own mental status at that time as well. So God always having his light on me. We were doing one of those wine and Zoom things, try to keep our lives normal. And
Wine with wine, right?
Yeah. And towards the end, I mean, I was just there crying. I'm like, I don't even need you guys. I just could drink wine and cry. Well, one of my friends was knowing me and knowing us. She was like, Melissa, stop complaining. Get a remote job. Like my lender's hiring. You're smart. You could do this. You have flips. Like get a job. And I just was like, fine. And so I was like, give me her number. So my boss now, I was given her number years ago, called her out of the blue. I would have taken any job at that point. I mean, if it was a dog sitter job, I would have taken it. But became somebody's assistant. And I, after 40, I had worked so hard and high up, prominent. And now I'm like a 30-year-old, smart, educated woman was my boss. And I was good with it because I really needed something. But it taught me a lot about myself of one, you can start new. So that was like something that like was really cool to go through as a woman, as a mom. But it also kind of told me like, I just listened to my heart for once. And I feel like I finally listened to like God saying, you are amazing, but this isn't your path for you. So fast forward, I've been a lender now for 4 years and I couldn't have been happier. If the world said, snap your fingers, you can have your old life back, I wouldn't do it at all. I'm more engaged with my family, my kids. I spend more time with them. I actually enjoy it. I laugh because they hear me talk about this sometimes and are like, you didn't love us? I did love you. I just didn't always, that wasn't my mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was quite a big journey because there was a lot of things I had to work on in myself to learn how to be okay with this new stage of life and to allow the younger generation to teach me and to mold me. And then what was cool is like I knew all this stuff to be professional and how to succeed. I just had to apply it to something new. So after I got that, it was sky's the limit. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into where I'm at right now. But yeah.
So have you ever watched the show Younger?
No.
Oh, you got to write it down. Younger.
Okay.
It's a series. There's 7 seasons. I just finished
good.
it. Like I love
I do too.
shows with lots of seasons. And it's this woman who gets a divorce and needs to find a job, and she keeps losing jobs because she's 40 and no one will hire her, so she pretends she's 30 and she kind of can pass it off. So now she's lying to everyone, and then she meets a guy who thinks she's 30. It's a great
Oh, that's good. I love long series because I put them on when I work, so they're like the office for me. So I'm like, oh, the people in the office. Oh,
and
cool.
and then like someone she works for is younger than her, so you'll really love it. You'll really love it.
Oh, very cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, I worked because I love to work and I love my boys. I'm a mom of 2 boys, but I always had the homework helper. Like I said, if I do homework with my kids, I'm going to kill them. I'll be in jail for murder. So I definitely hired, and I have felt no guilt about it. Like, you have a homework helper? Yes, because I would kill them. So
yeah, I think if it wasn't COVID and I just, I would have done that because it just wasn't me. It wasn't my gifts. I'm not a great teacher like that or patient or anything like that.
Right.
But during COVID, you're just stuck. The 6 of us were just staring at each other. So
crazy. So investing, have you invested?
Yeah, so that's the cool thing where I'm at. I've kind of gone through all this transition of who I work with now. So when I was working my W-2 job, we did flips on the side because it was my brain release. It was fun. I could, so I did that was about 10 plus years, multiple flips up here in Washington. We still hold rentals. We finally kind of settled on a few we like, but we sold off a lot kind of during COVID and thought about restarting. But now that I'm a lender, I work so much, I do so many deals with other clients that we just do passive investing and then hold the rentals for now. If I find I'm looking for a fourplex. So that'll be my next thing that I do. But yeah, for years. So what's cool now is my desire to help people. I now can apply what I've gone through as an investor and kind of like what I need from that aspect, but also as a lender, like the ins and outs and how to maneuver things and really try to advise people that way and kind of help them see like the bigger things that we as a lender see that I wish I would have known when I was just an investor.
For sure. Well, tell me about your first deal that you invested in, if you can
So
remember.
yeah, I know. So that it was shortly after we purchased our own home. Um, and so gosh, that was probably going to be like 2000 and it was right after the big crash. So let's say like 2009 or 10. So everything had crashed. It was all bad. So it was just like straight, it was an 80% and 100 deal. Like there was no good lending at the time because the risk averse was just so high at that time.
Mhm.
Um, that wasn't my most memorable one. I think the flips I remember are the ones that just they weren't like I never remember the good ones. It was always the one that like broke my heart that I if the ARV was high and then waited too long and I ended up breaking one deal I broke even and somebody said to me they're like, well, at least you didn't lose. And I was like, but I lost so much time and energy and like my heart was broken and
Right.
yeah.
On that first one, was it a flip? Like, was it a single family? What was the first deal?
Yeah, so we've only done single families.
Got it.
And yeah, it was so the areas around the Seattle area, what you hear about is like Bellevue and Seattle. Those are like the big and Tacoma. And
Mhm.
then what's really the good investor areas is around the airport because it's just a little bit like the income level is a little bit lower, but the amount of rental population there is good. And it's a lot of areas that need a lot of upgrades. So Kent, Washington was one of the first ones that we did. And we actually stayed investing in that area as well and Burien.
What was
But
the
mine
how many
go
did you
ahead.
have at your peak?
I think like when we were doing, because it was over like a long time and we were always flipping. I think that the most we've ever held was five.
Okay.
But like one of the last times I did a scheduled real estate, it was nine. But that was, like the middle of 3 years or the time frame
Right.
of 3 years. So it was nine, but those were flips. We ended up holding a few and then ended up with right now we just have the three. And we stopped buying before COVID. So I mean, you couldn't do anything up here. I
And
think the
why do
last
you
one
want to buy a fourplex now? Why are you looking for a fourplex?
well, because the whole name of the game has just changed with sorry, with short-term rental, midterm rental, the ADU play. We've always done the one unit long-term rentals, and I do Section 8 stuff because I believe in like supporting, what we can for the housing crisis.
Mhm.
But you just get more bang for your buck. Like, I mean, granted, in my head, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have more renters, but you just get more on one property, insurance, it's all, the same expenses, but one property.
Right.
So that's kind of, yeah, like that has been my dream. Another GoBundance gal and me almost bought a fourplex together. Yeah, she found a great deal and everything, but it was just, I was on vacation and, you've got to move fast, right? So my
Yeah.
fourplex will come. I know it will come.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah,
So tell me what you lend on. Like, what's your parameters on the lending?
yeah, so the thing is we're a great hard money company. We're a direct lender, so our fees are low. But we do flips, we do DSCR, and we do construction. But personally, like my favorite is the construction just because it's so creative. I really like that aspect of it. I do like the multifamily renovations too, doing 2 units, 3 units, 4 units. But my more love passion though is helping people and I do a lot of groups to like I wish there was an avenue to be an educator. There's quite not, but I've kind of just created my own where I'm like, who wants to learn? And I'll, just kind of teach people of like, these are the things you don't want to do. These are the good things to do. This is kind of what I've learned as an investor, what I've learned as a lender. But yeah, so I kind of take what we offer as a product, educate people on really the best way to use those products. But my biggest encouragement is just to make sure people are shopping, doing diligence, and getting the best pricing they can get, because when it comes down to it, it's just a sales job. Like, we're selling money. So, I think I lost you. Oh, I think I lost you.
I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, we just had a hiccup. So you said you're a hard money lender.
Hmm.
So are you, do you work for wealthy people? So explain that for my
Okay.
audience. So do you work for a bunch of wealthy people that just want to give out money at a percentage, or how does it work?
Yeah, so there's different, so this is where people are always like, oh, you're this. And I'm like, no, we're this. So there's two different, so there's banks, right? They do the conventional stuff. And then there's hard money and then there's private money. So you'll hear somebody say an HML or a PML. Now, a PML is the more of the people like that, where it's personal money, it's IRA money, it's maybe a group of people's money, it's a fund, and they will lend it out with their discretion the way they want, and they have total control of it. Where hard money is kind of the middle of the bank and the PML. We're usually owned by somebody or a fund that was created, but we are still kind of institutionalized. So we still have structure, rules, guidelines. Not that PMLs don't, but they are free to do whatever they want to do. But we're kind of that we meet in the middle to kind of bridge that gap. So a lot of times people will come to me for a loan, like we'll lend on the purchase price and the rehab. And that's very standard for a hard money deal. But then sometimes people go, well, I just need 60 grand for a down payment, or I need 100 grand for a second to do some construction. And those are really more of like what a PML would do, because it's a smaller amount and it's something that not a lot of lenders will do that. So it's something that, PML will do a little bit more flexibility for you on it. And I believe like you need both, because every deal, like you might need a PML here, you might need an HML here. Someday you might be able to use a bank. Most of us can't because because of our debt to income ratio. But yeah, so there is a big difference between a hard money lender and then a private money lender.
I never knew the difference of that.
Most people don't.
This is why we have this podcast. If people had said, "Oh yeah, hard money lender," I always thought it was a rich person that was
Yeah.
giving money at 12%.
Yeah.
I have only ever done loans with banks, so I've never, I know, but I do know people now that are lending a lot more of that
Mhm.
going on, because now with the rates being so high. So
Totally.
what would be a typical deal for the HML versus the PML?
Yeah, so I actually I have a good friend that I refer PML deals to. Like, if it's not a good fit for me, I'm just like, here's another, if somebody can help you. So I kind of know her parameters. But if you think about it, like, if same deal, a PML is going to be like at 12% and maybe 1 to 2 points. That's kind of like their pricing. Their deals are usually like 6 months to 12 months in a term. We're on the hard money side, we're all kind of a standard of a 12-month deal. You could get more or less depending on what you're working on. But our rates range from anywhere from, like, we go as low as 899 up to 1199, just depending on your experience, the risk of the project, the location. But the average, let's just say the average borrower is getting about 10% in 1 point on most of like the HML deals.
And what are the size of the loans you lend?
So because we lend all over the country, I think it's like 46 states. It's the lowest is 100,000, but I mean we go up to 10 million. So then my
Wow.
deals, yeah, we do. We have a really big. We own our own fund, so we have a really big fund that we can use. But like when I do San Diego deals, those are anywhere about 5 million each for purchase and rehab. But my little Ohio deals, which everyone is great state to lend in, they're like 150 purchase price, maybe 80 grand rehab.
Is it only residential, or do you do commercial? Like, would you do a shopping center?
That we won't do. So we will do residential stuff and then we'll do multifamily. So anything from 5 to like 30 units. And then we'll do some mixed use. So like areas like Pennsylvania, there's like New York too, there'll be like a little barber shop underneath and then maybe 3 apartments above it. We would do something like that. But yeah, the office spaces are just a little bit harder to come
Yeah.
by. Any of those, they call them I can't think, it's like a 3 letter revenue. Storage units we don't do, manufactured homes we don't really do. We try to stay just kind of basic residential stuff.
Awesome. How fascinating. I learned something new today.
Oh, there you go.
I love when I learn. Um,
Well, and that's what's fun is when somebody calls and like, hey, I've got an idea. This is what I want to do. That's why I really like being in my old job. It was a service position. I was helping athletes. Like, it's definitely what my love language is. But now I get to help, but it's kind of like a different, they actually appreciate it. I'm telling you, pro athletes don't appreciate it when you're helping them.
are your boys into soccer?
No, and that's what's funny. They're all into basketball and football. So none of them have played soccer. We tried when they were little and nope, they're
Are,
like, Mom, that's what girls do. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys.
are
It
they
drives me
in,
crazy.
yeah, that's great. Are they into superhero? How old are they?
Okay, so my oldest is 21, and then I have twins that are 19, and then my youngest is 13.
Movies and superheroes or no?
Oh
Like Marvel?
yes, Marvel. Oh yeah, Marvel, Transformers, Harry
Okay.
Potters. Yes,
So my
yeah.
son has so I have two boys, 25 and 22.
Oh,
And the 25-year-old has a podcast in LA about superhero movies.
oh, that's
They need
awesome.
they need to watch it. They might they're on TikTok, like millions of followers. Him and his
Oh my
partner.
gosh.
So check it out, the Escape Pod podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna ask because they're all in, that age is all into
Yeah,
streaming and all that stuff. So,
their average audience is 13 to 25-year-old men, young men.
oh my gosh, that's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love Marvel.
I was just in LA for they hosted a Fantastic Four screening for IMAX before it came out.
Oh, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, my 13-year-old just went to that movie last night. Like
Yeah,
it's funny, like we're a boy house, so it's
yeah.
yeah,
Boy
they're
mom,
totally into that. Yeah,
boy
boy
moms
mom.
rule.
Now I
Like
just need girls.
I
I
played
want girl
softball
granddaughters.
oh yeah, yeah. I played softball in high school and tried to walk on, and I'm like, God better not give me a girl. I would not know how to do the hair. Like I'm going to be in the backyard playing,
I know.
kickball, and yeah. So I better get boys. So
I
yeah,
know. And my mom is always like, because my mom had 2 daughters, so she's like, you do not want girls. And I'm like, I do. She's like, Miha, you've always just wanted what you didn't have. You're right, I did. Now that I've met, over the years, they've all had girlfriends come throughout the house that I'm like, yeah, I probably wasn't going to be good with girls. Like, I
yeah.
see it now. I see it now.
Not to be vulgar on a podcast, but I always said, with boys, you just have to worry about one,
Mm-hmm.
one
Yeah.
thing, and with
Yeah.
girls, you have to worry about all of the rest.
I know. And that's unfortunate, but I mean, that there's some reality there.
So,
But
how
I do
long?
teach my boys to have some good, moral character because there's a
Yeah,
lot of power in
yeah,
where men stand. So,
yes, yes. So,
yeah.
how long have you been in GoBundance?
So, okay, GoBundance is a funny story because, like, I love the group. I would run into Mandy at every event. I've been going to events for 4+ years, and I would see her at every event. We would just like connect, hang out. Then people, her people would come, my people, and we're always having a party in the bar.
Yeah,
So we started saying what event you're going to, and then we would co-host an event and be like, Go Abundant, sponsored by Conventus. And then it just kind of evolved, and I would sponsor the big events and attend, and I'd just sit there and pay attention and just feel kind of on the outside, but like very loved, but I was a sponsor. I wasn't really in GoBundance. But I want to say last year at Austin, we had a great time. And then Mandy and I were sitting there outside. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And she was just like, so when are you going to join? And I was like, join what? And she was like, Abundance. And I was like, oh, I guess I do fit in this, like I'm an accredited investor. I just kind of, I didn't think about myself. I just was like, I'm here to support everyone here. And I
that's
had to
funny.
like, she just said, slap your hand. Like, this is where you need to be. Like, these people love you and you fit well. And so it was
Yeah,
really welcoming. I've never actually felt so like, I don't know, like I do a lot of group things and I do a lot of things where I'm at, similarly, I go to other events, I'm always there and never felt so wanted or welcome. So I
yeah.
signed up the next month and I think I've been in since that November. So it was just right after.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm very
Yeah.
much enjoying it. And they just agreed to sponsor my event in March. I heard from Mandy and Kelly this morning. They're going to sponsor the welcome party, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, neat. I need to get information too, because we definitely want to support you too. And I want to be
Awesome.
there. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah.
So one last question as we close
Okay.
out. I would say that on average, we probably have over 1,000 people that watch either, watch it live or the replay. And I would say probably 75% are active investors, but 25% of the women have money, but they want to dip their toe in, but they're just not sure. What advice would you give them as a fellow female investor to get started?
So I think as women, we don't give ourselves, we're one, very cautious and strategic, right? So we're not, then when we make a move, it's going to be the right move. We've thought about it. We know it's going to succeed. But I also think we need to kind of have confidence in us as well to take some of those riskier moves. Now, I'm not saying just buy the first one you saw, but at some point act on your heart, act on your belief system, act on what you've been working on. At this point, I'm assuming most of these people have, work in mentorships and have a good community around them. I always say have a community, have people to talk to, partnership with people. But at some point we have to act and we have to really take that risk and take that next step. I think that's the hardest thing I see women doing. We constantly are second guessing ourselves and going, what if it fails? It might fail. I would say 3/4 of the deals I've done weren't as successful as I wanted them to be, but I learned from them and I grew from them, and that's part of the process. So I would say, like, if you don't have a group, you don't have a community, find one and find the people that are your people and build the relationships to be at the point where you take this next step. Set a date, say in 9 months that you're going to have a deal, connect on that deal and proceed, and just kind of set some goals for yourself.
I love that. And yeah, what I always say at the conference is, if you've got 300 grand, don't invest the 300 grand, invest 50 grand. And if you invest the 50 grand, if you, God forbid, lost it, couldn't you replace it? And if you can't replace it, if you don't have the confidence in yourself to replace 50 of the 300 you've saved, that's a whole other problem.
Yes, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, that's a different podcast. That's not me. Speaking about when you mentioned before that you love to teach, right? Or you love to help. So just, from my experience, what I've done is I have 800 videos, almost 900 videos on YouTube teaching.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So go ahead and teach.
Well, I struggle with the video. I try to make video. People are like, give me a 30-second. I'm like, it's gonna take me 5 hours.
then do it on LinkedIn or Twitter. I do that too. I just like, if something happened today that I said, everyone needs to know this, I go on Twitter or LinkedIn and I type it.
Yeah, I am in a growth state here. If you talk to Sabrina Smythe, she'll tell you, like, I very much grew because last year I wouldn't even do live stuff. I was just online. You could get me in a room and I'll talk to you get me in a room of hundreds and I'm like, how are we doing, people? Let's go. But the Zoom thing, I really struggle with it. So I started a webinar every month this year. It was my big goal. And it's open to everyone. And it's just basically like investing 101. I teach the basics, answer questions. So it's been like okay, I'm going to take this step. And then I'm really going to work on, I know I feel like it's next year, but like, I think towards the end of this year, I'm going to really work on like being able to take some of that and then put it to content. But it's just one of the things I don't love is seeing myself on video and doing those things. So I'm like, okay, if I can engage, I love it. But if it's just me going, like, I just feel like a big dork. So I got to get over it. I'm on a quest to do that. And also AI. I have to figure out AI at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, so what happened to me about last year was a lot of people were calling me saying, I just bought a shopping center and I don't know what I'm doing. And I mean, it was happening once a week. I was getting these calls. I'm like, why are you buying shopping centers if you don't know what you're doing? Like,
I
where's this coming from? And then I'd like, well, why did you buy it? Well, I listen to podcasts and
I
people said
know.
to buy shopping, like strip mall. The strip mall guy on Twitter said buy shopping. And I'm like, oh my God. So I said, okay, I was having the same repeatable conversations with these people. So I said, okay, I'm going to start a podcast where for 3 or 4 minutes, I'm just going to dictate into my phone, no video. I'm just dictating into voice record. Today, I own a shopping center. Now what? And I would say today's lesson is, why you shouldn't do a vape store in your shopping center. And then I would speak for 3 minutes, and then I would send it to my
Oh,
social media person, and she would post it. And I think I have over 75 of those, and they're only 3 or 4 minutes, but basically I'm teaching, and I own a shopping center. Now what? And
oh,
people are coming up to me at conferences going, oh my God, you've saved our life. Like my dad bought a shopping center. We didn't know what CAM was. And I've opened, and it's literally 3 or 4 minutes dictated
yeah.
into my voice memo.
That's really cool. That's really
So
cool.
you can say,
Okay.
I
I
need a loan. Now what?
I know. And Sabrina, if you're near her, she's like, you could do this and you could do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah. So
One
here
step
we
at a
go.
time.
So
I
Melissa, thank
know.
you so much for joining Women
Yes.
Investor Wednesdays.
Thanks
And
for having
now,
me.
and hopefully everyone will see you at the summit in March 4th through
Yes.
the 6th in Fort Lauderdale. We just opened registration last week,
Whoop,
and
whoop.
we're excited. And I'm excited to see you there and at future Go Abundance events.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to see you too and everyone at the event in March.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.